Hey, what's up, everybody? TeaRon here. Welcome to another episode of Ubiquitous Blacks Reviews. And you are joining myself and Tiera Janee already in progress. If you have not yet checked out last week's episode, part one of the review for the movie Three Ways, I suggest you stop here, go back and watch that, and then return here and finish it out. If you have already watched it and you are proceeding, I say to you, thank you and enjoy. It could, depending on what point of view you tell it from, it's
Mm-hmm.
three different movies,
Yes.
literally.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie is able to get across 3 points of view
Mm-hmm.
without, like, I don't know, because I was like, if this was just Lorraine's story, it's a story about an obsessed girl who's unhappy in her
Correct.
unconventional relationship.
Correct.
Which we didn't mention her relationship.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, so we have to mention her relationship as a very big part of the story. We talked about poly relationships. I was talking about seeking brother husband. It's very that. So she is dating a man who's in his 60s. Actually, she's engaged to him. That's her fiance.
Yeah.
And they live together, but they have an arrangement where she's allowed to sleep with and be with other men sexually.
Yeah.
So, are you two, you know,
Who was that? Swingers?
yeah.
No, we are part of the lifestyle, I'd say. Except we're more into partnerships, more or less.
Okay, so, what does that mean?
Well, you know, like couples of two, we prefer three.
I didn't get the sense that the two of them, like the two men, would also. Actually, no, I take that back.
I got that sense.
I take that back because there was a point where she talked about her fiance and also Justin, them all being in a threesome.
Yeah.
So they did mention that.
So
Yeah.
so Justin is so horny for this threesome with Stacy and whoever that he's agreed to have a threesome with Lorraine and her partner. Like, Justin don't care. He's like, yep, yep, me too, yep.
Yep.
He don't care.
He don't care.
He's on a mission. But that particular side plot, if you will,
Mhm.
it's a story that the way it was written, they took that angle so seriously, because it could have been very silly or very dismissive, her relationship with that older guy, but they told it in a way where it was like, she's in a relationship with an older guy. It's an unconventional, non-traditional. Let me say this: non-traditional relationship, and the guy, he's at an age now where he may not be able to get it up like he used to, right? He may not be able to enjoy intercourse like he used to. So his answer to that, and this is again that what I was saying earlier, is that there's people in relationships where they don't tell their partner everything. They don't share. They keep parts of them to themselves. And to me, I just don't know if that's a real relationship. But that's another conversation.
Mm.
So we see that happening in Lorraine's own relationship, because her fiance basically has agreed that, yeah, you can do whatever you want, or we can have a third involved in our relationship, because he's basically saying it for his own selfish reasons. He's like, okay, I don't feel like I can satisfy you in the way that sexually that you want to be, so I'm going to allow this situation.
So is that for his own reasons, or is that for is that him being selfless?
I think it's him. Well, there's a gray area. So I think it's him being more selfish, because he's basically holding her back from being, with someone else, because she could easily be with someone like Justin. But basically what I saw when we found out that Justin and Lorraine reconnected and they hook up, just the two of them, I was like, they don't really need anybody else.
But they do, because they're only fulfilling each other sexually.
They don't need anybody else in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay. They got each other.
Okay, because I'm like, but they
right?
do. Yeah.
And I say the only reason that stood out to me was because I was like, okay, Lorraine's with her fiance. He's not. He's her fiance is Stacy, right? Her fiance is Justin's Stacy. I forget the fiance's name, the character's name, doesn't matter. But he has agreed to a situation that he's not really into.
Correct.
But he's so loyal, or he's so into Lorraine that he's allowed it. Like he's like, no, he's convincing himself.
Mm-hmm.
So they go and they like are all meeting up at Justin's place, and Lorraine doesn't even know that her fiance is like waiting outside in the car to the point that he's asleep. Like
didn't he drop her off?
No.
I thought he dropped her off.
He didn't drop her off because she called him to come and pick her up, and he was like, I'm on my way, even though he was already there.
Oh, how'd she get there?
I don't know.
Uber.
He didn't drop her off though. Or he dropped her off and did not leave.
That's the sense I got. I got the sense that he dropped her off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he was like, all right, I'm going to run to Costco.
Yeah.
And then I'll be back
So,
in a few hours.
yeah, so Lorraine, at first I was thinking, I was like, oh, Lorraine does what she wants. But then I saw, I once they introduced her relationship, I was like, Lorraine doesn't do what she wants. Lorraine is stuck.
I don't see it that way. I don't see it like that. I see it as Lorraine is getting what she needs as much as she can from her fiance, from like an emotional level, from an understanding level.
Yeah.
He's clearly has a lot of adoration for her. Like, I think she's getting financially, like she got a place to live, like nice little house they had. Like, so I think she's getting all those needs met, but the sexual piece is missing.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
I don't feel like she was stuck. I feel like, and maybe I have this perspective because I just watched Seeking Brother Husband, but I think that she is one of those people who are like, I don't want to say have your cake and eat it too, but have your cake and eat it too. But your partner knows, and you're open about it, and you're honest about it.
I'm not that mature.
It takes a huge level of maturity.
Do you think you could ever be in a situation where? Let me say this.
Say it.
If I was in a relationship
Mm-hmm.
where there was like third party stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would rather be in a relationship where we told each other what we were doing. Right? But some people are like, I know some people who are like, you can do what you want, just don't tell me about
I've
it.
heard that. Mm-hmm.
No, tell me.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah.
But then it's like, I don't know, like I'm not there. But there are some people that do the thing. Y'all have to help me with this.
It's very interesting. Again, that's why I was so deep into this show, because it's so fascinating to me. I don't think it's for me.
Yeah.
I don't think the way that I'm set up for that, but I understand how people can arrive there.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. And then there's also like some things that are still quite hilarious because there's comedy throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Since it's a black movie, either and you have someone like Lorraine's character in there, somebody gonna smoke weed or something. No, they take it a level up. When they show up, they set the mood, or they start out by doing shrooms. Wrong move.
They do.
And that little element was enough to throw some stuff, in.
When they pulled out the shrooms, I said, I know what type of party this is about to be.
Yeah.
I said, oh, this is not going to be a regular rom-com.
Yeah.
That was the moment for me. That right there, I said, okay.
Exactly.
Right.
and that's the reason that things did not go according to plan.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So it was topsy-turvy. I thought it was clever in the way that they shot it, because you could tell that the movie was not a super high budget film.
Mm-hmm.
However, the locations, so most of the time we're in Justin's place,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't really, we leave there, but we don't really go too far.
Correct.
There's a few scenes with Stacy and Takara's character where they're like, at the beach and stuff. But most of the shots take place in single rooms,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I thought that was clever, but it's also a way of taking a character and putting him in a confined space.
Yeah.
Right? There's this storytelling where it's like a mouse in a maze, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, what? And you create commotion through that.
Yeah.
I thought that was smart, because you see movies where it's like, okay, we don't have the budget that we need, we're gonna make it work. Sometimes that's an excellent element. Other times it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
y'all could have just. I think there's an old Alfred Hitchcock film that, oh gosh, what was it called? It's called Rope. And I don't know if you ever seen it.
Mm-mm.
It's not a black film. but it's
I mean, you said Alfred Hitchcock.
but it's Alfred Hitchcock. So if you're into film and you want to find like someone who's just stellar, that's someone who you have to study, right?
Yeah,
I feel like they teach them in film school. So in Rope, the premise is that there's a murder that happens, right, in this apartment, and it's a really good movie, I think. But there's a murder that happens, and when after the murder happens, the body does not leave the apartment.
Oh,
They store it. They store the body in a trunk, right? And it just so happens they're having a dinner party that same day, and so you see the story go. All these guests start to come in. Everyone's showing up. The whole time, as a viewer, that there's this body in this trunk, and you're just like watching in suspense, like, and then they invite a detective who's just at the party, but also he's like, y'all acting kind of weird, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And movies like that I love so much because you don't have to worry about like, oh, someone's going to do a whole night on the town. It's going to be, it's just not all these extra scenes going on. And this movie did that well. It was like, okay, we're in Justin's place for the most part, and we're going to use this here. So one thing that was clever was they brought in the shrooms, and it's like, obviously you're doing shrooms, you're going to trip, right? So a way to get the characters to go from one character to the other, right, was they like broke off. Like they would go, oh, I have to go to the bathroom, right? Everyone ended up in that bathroom at some point.
They did.
But it was a way for them for the writing, I'm sure, it was a way for them to get that character alone and assess where they are in the moment.
Yeah.
I thought that was smart.
Yeah, I agree.
That was dope.
I agree. And just wanted to add, when I was reading up on this, fun fact, they filmed the movie in the director's mother's home.
Well,
for 2 weeks.
See?
So it's funny because the whole time I'm watching this and I'm like, this is a nice house.
It was
they
a
live
nice
in
house.
LA. And I was like, and he's a teacher and he got this many bedrooms. He got 2 bedrooms. Oh my God. Like I was just like the whole time. So that was funny. But yeah, I think I like the way that them being in the house was the central. That was the central focal point.
Because if you like, okay, let's say they were having a threesome and they went out to dinner first or they went dancing, you'd have a lot going on that this movie did not need.
No.
And that's why I was saying it reminded me of Booty Call, where it's so funny to say that with a straight face. It reminded me of Booty Call, where these characters were like, oh, we're gonna get busy, we're gonna have a good time. But there was so much happening. But at the same time, we kept coming back into those apartments.
Yes.
That was the whole thing. They went out, came back in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that was the frustration. So the frustration was building for me because we well into the movie. They start to get intimate. Stacy's like, no. So there's a lot of start and stops.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Justin starts tripping on the shrooms. Whoa, wait. Justin leaves.
He does. Mm-hmm.
Right? That's I think Lorraine's up breaking the wine bottle. And so Lorraine's like, oh, well, we go get another one. So they send him away. We see Justin out. Okay, he's at the liquor store. He's tripping off shrooms at this point. He's high.
As a kite.
But Justin ends up running into an ex, right? And this is girl named Kelly. I remember her name now. It's a girl named Kelly. And when we go into Justin's backstory and it's his POV, we find out more about his relationship with Kelly. Here's one thing I thought was interesting that was like a subtlety I could be wrong about, but let me know what you thought.
Mm-hmm.
When Justin goes to the store to get more alcohol, and he runs into his ex Kelly, he says hi to
like
Kelly's friend, yeah, and her friend's like,
yeah.
I was thinking in my notes I was like, okay, did Justin try to get them to do a threesome, and so the friend is like, like, is that his thing, his kink?
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe so.
And it was the reason that like it didn't work because they didn't show that in their relationship.
Yeah, but I just thought that she was just riding for her friend and she was mad. So
yeah,
I was like, F yeah.
I don't know.
But that's really funny.
It's an interesting take,
really
right?
Funny,
but
backstory on Justin.
Yeah.
More to come.
And so so we get Stacy and we get Lorraine alone. Tell me what you thought about that particular part, because and Lorraine's like, oh, do you want a massage? Of course Lorraine's gonna offer a massage to someone at some point. But what did you take once it got to that part? What were you thinking?
Once it got to that part, I was like, of course this is happening. They are both high as a kite, and they've been drinking wine, and it's just like the energy in the room. So I wasn't surprised that is the direction that it went. It was like, I think they were both relaxed and calm. I think having Justin removed from the room, like removing the male energy, helped them to like calm down. It's their femininity, their feminine energy. So I actually kind of like that scene. I was like, oh, it's calmed down. Like the whole tone of the movie kind of calmed down for a little bit.
It definitely changed the pace.
Yeah, it was kind of nice to see that, and they were just chilling and whatever, and you could see Stacy starting to kind of warm up, and then she's like in her head, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, am I a lesbian? I kissed a girl before when I was like in the 7th grade," and she's just going again. She's on a trip as well, so I thought that scene was really nice. It was a nice change of pace to the movie, and it was like again interesting to see like remove the man and see how everybody chills.
And it was clever. It was the way that we were able to. So once we get Justin back into the scene, he's like, "Oh, they are really vibing." Right, to the point they don't even know he's showed back up, right? And he's like, "Oh, they are really vibing. I'm not needed here," right?
And then in comes his insecurities.
His insecurities show up, and that's the thing. This movie highlights everyone's specific insecurities, like immensely.
Yeah,
it was so clever.
Good. Even like Lorraine, who on the surface you're like, oh my gosh, she's got it together. She's beautiful. She's
equally insecure.
She's as equally as insecure, and like she let that. She did a good job of like containing that, but along the way it started to like creep out.
Yeah. And I earlier I said that I had one problem with the movie. I actually had more than one. Okay. My second problem with the movie was that it took a long time for any action to happen. I was like, yo, like as a man, I was getting frustrated. I was like, but that's the story that's what it's supposed to do.
Of course, 100%. Right?
But I was like, yo, if y'all don't get to it, I wrote in my notes. I said, if we're doing this and we ain't doing it within the first 2 hours, it's time to go home.
It's because they ate salmon. I'm telling you, if they had a salad,
it's time to go.
If they had some soup,
we're not even eating.
Some ramen.
First of all,
it's a dinner party.
No, first of all, you should have ate before you came. I will offer drinks and stuff, but we're not eating. We're not eating. I'm not feeding you. We are here to do some stuff.
It was a dinner party.
No, I think Justin made a dinner party per his friends. The recommendation. Yeah. But no, I was like, come on. So you get like, I don't even know how long. If the movie is an hour and 30 minutes, you get an hour and 20 minutes into a movie before you see a titty.
It's true. And so what's funny is the first time I watched this, when I just thought it was a regular rom-com, I ended up falling asleep. So by the time I woke up, it was at the time they were getting to business. And I was like, what is happening on the TV? I was so confused.
Let me say this.
I was confused because, baby, when I tell you they went there, they went there, and there.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah, I was. By the time they got to it, I was like, thank you.
Not thank you.
Enjoy you know, have you ever watched an adult film and you say, enjoy? Yes, I have. I encourage people all the time when I'm watching stuff. I say, yes, do that. That's good. You never clapped at a
move on.
Okay. I applied. But I was like, okay, cool. But there is that moment in the film. One of the most awkward moments is that while we did get Stacy alone with Lorraine, because that's the women's time, we also get Justin alone with Lorraine's fiance.
It was about a year ago. I was performing Reiki down in the conference in Inglewood. And then she walked. White dress, flowered hair, back straight, bright smile. She looked like a queen. Now, I'm never one to approach no women because And frankly, I can't see how people do it. The rejection alone is unbearable. But with her, she made me feel an energy that I didn't know I had left.
Now, you need to specify when you say a long time, because when you said a long time,
I'm going. I'm a.
okay, because I was
I'm
like,
I'm
when
gonna
did
get
that
into
happen? Okay,
it. Did.
I know, but I thought you meant a different kind of
No,
alone time.
no.
So I was like, what?
So Lorraine's at this point when they are hooking up, Lorraine's fiance has agreed to the situation, so he already knows who Justin is. That's their agreement. He's cool with Justin doing stuff with Lorraine, right? And again, he's been outside the place the whole time. His whole purpose is he doesn't care exactly what Lorraine does, but he's going to make sure that she's
Safe.
safe and that she's pleased, right? So Justin, at some point, he's in his feelings. He shows up. They don't need him there. He's in his feelings. He's high on the mushrooms.
He also cannot perform.
Exactly. So he all in his head. He can't get it up. He's like, yo, it's not happening. I need to go outside and get some air or whatever. Again, a lot of stop and start before we even get to anything, which was annoying me. So when he's outside, he's outside, he's taking a walk, or it was when he was coming from the store, I can't remember. But he spots that Lorraine's fiance is outside in the car. So he knocks on the window and he's like, hey, you all right? And so he's like, oh, you all, her husband or her fiance, he's like, oh, are you done? So pretty much he's just like, waiting. But no, so Justin ends up telling him, well, no, everything's still going on, but I can't get it up. So Lorraine, and here's the thing. This particular scene, it could have been silly, it could have been cheesy. It did get silly toward the end, but it needed that.
Mm-hmm.
But Lorraine's fiance, since he's an older guy who deals with erectile dysfunction, obviously. And
Don't say obviously.
well, that's the tone that they set in the movie. That's why he can't. That's why he's not satisfying Lorraine, as like he would have if they were younger, or if he was younger. So he has a very again. Lorraine is into holistic, teachings and stuff, and so is her fiance. They are equally yoked in that regard. They both give people massages and all this stuff. So let's just say Lorraine's fiance encourages Justin in order for him to get it back up. Here's what I'm gonna say. And the only reason he did it, he didn't do it for Justin, by the way. He did it for Lorraine because he's that into her. He's like, oh, you want to do what you're gonna do with these two others? I'm gonna make sure you get yours. Which is weird. It's weird.
It's so fascinating.
It's weird. It's deep psychological
thing.
It's deep.
It's so interesting to me.
The scene. It's a serious conversation, and it gets broken up at the end with just like some, comedic sort of relief.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he helps Justin get it up and get back in there. And after he helps Justin out, and the reason I'm not giving y'all all of that. I think just watch it. But he helps Justin gets back in there, and fast forward, they get into what they need to get into,
and they get into it.
I
will say, when I read up on it, I did read that they had an intimacy coach, because when I was watching it, I thought, wow, there's a lot of intricacies and things happening here for this to be a non-pornographic movie. So I was like, wow. So it was interesting to me that they like hired a coach, and the director was saying one of his biggest goals was just to make sure that the women were comfortable the whole entire time, so I appreciated that.
And what's so funny is that when it comes down to the actual exactly when it gets down to it, at this point everyone is in the height of their insecurities, and it's a not a sense of urgency, but everybody is in their head like, oh, it's now or never, and we're gonna get this over with.
And I really liked the dialogue that was happening during, because it was like you were getting all three almost at once. So it was like the one time that all three dialogues were happening, and you're hearing everyone's insecurities and this one's mad at this one because they not doing this, and this one's mad at this one because they should be doing like it was.
Yeah.
And then the women were in competition. It was.
Yeah,
I
was
really liked
hysterical.
that. Yeah.
You know, there was a scene where Justin is talking to his homie who gave him the mushrooms. They're sitting on the bench at the park and they're talking, and they have a conversation. He's like, you know, when you're watching porn and you know there's a threesome and it's like share the love, you know.
That reminds me, man, you got to make sure you spreading the love equally. Women are hella sensitive. They pick up on that.
Yeah, but they both fine, though.
Even still, you just naturally gravitate towards one. It's human nature. You ever be watching a porno and you see a dude two chicks and you like, damn, man, spread the love.
And I was like, oh, here's the funny thing.
Go tell your business.
No, here's the funny thing. I've had that thought, but I never verbalized it. Like I never out loud was like, but I have had that thought like, you kind of leaving somebody out, right?
Is that a thing, y'all?
Which can happen in those three-way scenarios where it's like, okay, you doing a lot. You're doing a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's where my immaturity would show. It's like, okay, you doing a lot. You don't even do that to me.
But that's why it's funny because in real life, you wouldn't have an intimacy coach or an intimacy producer, you know, putting together the scenes and say, okay, you put this over here and you move that.
Yeah.
No, in real life, it's just like, it's a free for all.
Yeah.
So it's like, you're going to do, like the friend was saying, the people are going to gravitate towards someone naturally. And so like he was telling him, you got to be mindful of that because you don't want to leave the other one out because you are naturally as a human gravitating towards someone else.
Yeah.
So that was the funny in it. Like that was the comedy in the whole
yeah.
the whole doing of the deal.
It was just really well written, really well shot. Again, they did not overdo it. They worked with what they had, and because of that, it was really well done.
Yeah.
Everybody's performance was great.
Yes.
Yes. For what it's worth, and then to take such a taboo topic, right, and make it a thing, because whether we admit it or not, a lot of us will relate to this whole threesome bit.
A
right?
lot of us.
A lot of us.
Oh.
A lot of people.
Some people.
A lot of people.
Some.
A lot more than probably would admit it.
I'll give you that, but it's still gonna be some.
So you'll watch it and you'll be like, okay, yes, that does happen, all right. You know, so it's not like it's a topic that's so taboo that it's unrelatable. Is what I'm getting at. And I'm surprised I'm going to say this. I'm glad. Good recommendation. I actually watched it more than once.
I bet you did.
You know, I watched certain scenes more than once.
Did.
I was pleased. I was happy. I was happy.
Intimacy coach.
I was happy. What was your main takeaway from it? What would you rate this particular movie?
Yeah, so main takeaway, I was pleasantly surprised. It was a really good movie. Very good storyline. Again, they could have gone, because it's a raunchy topic, they could have made it just over the top and raunchy just for the sake of being that. But no, it was funny. We had characters that were likable, relatable.
Yeah.
I thought the performances were great. It was a good enough story to where like I would watch it again and wouldn't be like bored or like upset that I watched it again.
Yeah, I know. I watched it again.
He would watch it again and again. So I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a Queen Latifah.
Okay.
I really enjoyed this. It was great. I will continue to recommend it to friends.
Why Queen Latifah?
I'm gonna give it a Queen Latifah because for all the reasons that I just named, but really I wanted more Takara. Like I don't know how they could have given me more Takara, but she was such a scene stealer, and I wanted to see more of her. And like there were times where I was like sitting there and watching her interaction with Stacey, and I thought, what if Takara were the Stacey, or what if Takara were the Lorraine?
Yeah.
Like how would the story be different? How would it flip? And I was thinking that the whole time. So I was like, I wanted more of that. So just because of that, I'm gonna have to give it a 4, a Queen Latifah. But I did enjoy it. What say you, T?
For me,
yeah.
Okay. So again, I'm a sucker for like things that are well written, things that are well acted, and things that are well shot. This movie hits all the marks on that for me.
Yeah.
There was at no point was I taken out of it because I'm like, oh, this is more of an indie film, or oh, I don't know, these people in the movie, stuff like that, right?
Or the wigs are bad.
Or the wigs are bad.
Yeah.
There was none of that.
No bad wigs. Not one.
There's no excuse. Um, in fact, now that you mentioned, there's a movie where there's a guy that's in a bad wig that's still a good movie because the writing's good.
Gotta be so good.
It was really good.
Damn good. Gotta be.
Yeah. So it's not always the wigs. If the story is good, you will forget about the wigs.
What about if the story's bad but the wigs are good?
Then you just don't care. The story has to be good first.
Fair. Carry on.
I think I like the fact that they took a non-traditional topic and gave it to us in a way that was humorous. It did not shame anyone, right? And it didn't take itself too seriously, so it was fun to watch. But at the same time, the things that needed to be taken serious were.
Yes.
Right? So when we get out of the movie, we get back to our main character, which is Stacy, because at the end of the day, the movie is about someone who is sort of finding themselves in the midst of this. And Stacy, even though she goes through with something that she didn't necessarily want to, she found herself. And that's really what the whole thing was about. So I thought that it got tied up in a nice little bow at the end.
Yeah.
For me,
I can't wait to hear this.
I was so frustrated waiting for the action to happen.
Don't do this.
And that's all I wanted after, because see me, I'm like, people, they be like, oh, it's going to be all night long. And I'm just like, to me, an hour is a long time. It is.
Yeah.
And I'm at the age, I got things to do in the morning. You can have a strong 10, 15-minute session and be good.
Doing anything for an hour is really a long time, except like sleep.
Yeah. So I don't subscribe to that.
Yeah.
This movie dragged it for me.
Stop.
And so I was like, yo, but
the build up.
Wait, that's the thing.
The build up.
The build up is important.
The build up.
You call it build up. I call it edging. But once it got to the point where we got the action, we got the payoff, I was so pleased. I was so happy.
Yes.
I wanted to be there.
Oh.
I was like, I want to be in that room.
Sounds like you were elated.
Oh, ecstatic. For me,
explosive.
For me, I'm going to give the movie an Angela Bassett. And that is because it was just that good. Like I said, romantic comedies can come off cheesy. They can be whack. They can be corny. It can be same old tropes. This was none of that.
None of that. No.
I highly recommend this movie.
Well done. Well
highly
done, y'all.
recommend this movie.
Well done. Absolutely recommend it. Well done, y'all. I love it. I love it. I love it.
In fact, I think that for Halloween, I'm just kidding.
I just want to go on the record by saying this is the first one that we've done since we've been doing our reviews that you've given a.
I'm not just giving out Angela Bassett.
And I also
to anybody.
Just want to say this is my choice. So I would like to give a hand clap to myself for picking a lovely movie.
I'll give you some too.
Thank you. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
Good choice. Good choice.
Thank you.
Again, I was looking at you sideways. I was like,
yes,
what is she
he
watching?
texted me, y'all. I said, okay. I said, just
said,
give
what
it,
are
just
you
give it a
watching?
minute. He said, I can't believe you got me watching this. I'm like, oh, now you're a prude. Okay. Keep watching.
I'm so
Keep
pleased.
watching. I bet.
I'm so pleased.
I bet.
So if you all decide to do a sequel, I will work for free.
Intimacy coach.
I will not be an intimacy coach. I want to be in the scene. And then we're gonna, instead of calling it 3 ways, it's gonna be 4 ways because I'm in there. I'm in there.
If y'all do a part 2, just put Takara in it. Make her
5 ways.
Yeah. 5 of them things.
5 of them things.
5 of them things.
baby. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
At what point
Mm-hmm.
does okay, so basically is 5 technically an orgy?
This is not the time or the place for this.
Like, what's the number, y'all?
Listen, put that in the comments. I don't have an answer for that.
What's the number?
I don't have an answer.
Because a foursome is a foursome. Nobody says 5, so 5 has to be.
It's a quince. No.
A kingsome.
Kingsome.
we had a kingsome.
Goodbye. Good night.
So,
oh Lord,
if you have enjoyed this review and you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. Let me know where you are from. Let me know if you watched the movie. Come back to this and let's talk about it.
Yes,
let's talk about it.
Yes.
Anybody who knows anybody in the cast, find them and let them know that I will be in the next movie with them.
Yes.
You can find me. I almost forgot what I was doing.
Listen, terrible. Terrible.
You can find me on social media at TeaRon World on Instagram, at TeaRon with 2 underscores on TikTok. And of course, you can find Ubiquitous Blacks all over social media. You just go on your internet machine, type in Ubiquitous Blacks. If you spell it wrong, guess what it'll do, Tiara? It'll say, "Did you mean?" And click on that, and then you'll find us. Tiara, let them know where they can find you.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. I am at It's Tiera Janee. And again, we thank you. I appreciate y'all for having me. I appreciate y'all for watching. If you have any other suggestions, things you'd like us to check out, things that you're interested in that we should watch all together and then review, we would love to see it. If it's on a platform that you know we don't have a password for, go ahead and send us the password. We are all family.
I'm not going to tell anybody your password.
We're not
I'll
we'll share
watch the movie. I'll log out.
That's it. And log out.
Forget password.
I wouldn't share with no one else. So yeah. Yeah, but we appreciate y'all. Hope you enjoyed this. We did. Well, I know I did. Well, he did.
I definitely enjoyed that. I think I'm going to watch it again tonight.
Woo, it's spicy.
Again, find us on all your social media platforms and send us some questions, comments, suggestions.
Yes.
Ubiquitousblacks@gmail.com.
Yes.
And maybe one day we'll do a a reading of everyone's YouTube comments and emails and stuff.
I would love that.
we'll be able to have some fun with that.
And also, to add to that, if you have some more international stuff, movies, TV shows, short films, anything like that you want us to check out, I'm down for that. I would like to see more international things. So please send them our way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you say 3 ways in Spanish?
Okay. You know what? I'm done. I'm done. We can cut it right here. I'm done.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all. Tree ways.